Today we are going to talk about Automatic.CSS and Figma and how we can establish a cohesive workflow in Figma that is totally aligned with Automatic.CSS. So hopefully the time to convert the Figma design into an Automatic.CSS configuration this time gets reduced significantly. Why bother with Figma in the first place? I mean, we can just start designing in the editor, and we hope that by adjusting some values in the ACSS panel, we reach out to a beautiful and cohesive solution for the web design. However, many times we feel that our designs are repeatable and the same across projects. And it makes sense because many times we also use with template libraries like frames or bricks or something else. Okay, so we need to discover this level of individuality between projects. And in order to do that, what you need is creative design discovery. So you need to invest time into that. You need a setup that is flexible and scalable so that you can dedicate a couple of hours at least on the creative part in order to establish this distinctive touch for the specific project. You also get a repeatable framework for your design operations, especially if you are an agency or a freelancer who is managing multiple projects. Okay, you want a standardized blueprint that saves you time and scales projects. It's as simple as that. And from my experience, Automatic.CSS is the ideal solution for such a scenario. It unifies design and development. So especially if you are working with a designer, you need a common language between each process. Okay, you need to bridge the gap between Figma and EtchWP and bricks and Automatic.CSS in the live environment. Okay, so in Automatic.CSS, for example, the primary color is also defined in Figma. Spacing is also defined in Figma. Whatever is important and is defined in Automatic.CSS is defined in Figma. In the end, perhaps the major benefit is the flawless translation into Automatic.CSS. Okay, and this high fidelity between design and development. What you design in Figma, this is what you get in Automatic.CSS. And about that gap we discussed a while ago between converting a Figma design to an actual ACSS configuration, this gap gets almost eliminated. So this is my Figma setup, one of the pages. I will briefly walk you through the pages. Here we have a simple enough style guide for typography, color, spacing, and of course all these values and styles here adapt automatically based on how I manage my variables. And I will show you the variable architecture in a minute. You see, I have also created this little panel here, which gives me direct information about things that the base size for my headings and the scale ratio, same for text, for spacing and radius. So whatever has a manageable ratio, it shows here. Let me take you to the variable architecture. So this is my variables panel, and let me close all the toggles. So I have my variables panel here, and I have some collections to organize my variables. The palette is the palette library as defined in Automatic.CSS. All the primary colors, secondary, neutral, base. The tokens collection, which is the most important one, is it contains all the major variable categories. I have my color variables, the contextual color variables, so things for backgrounds, text. I have variables for my typography, spacing, gaps, border. I have also some variables for cards because I really like to work with the card framework in Automatic.CSS. So these variables are mapped to the Automatic.CSS framework, and same applies for icons. A collection for buttons, or I would rather say a group for buttons and another for forms. Okay, essentially what I'm doing here is I am creating the same variables that exist in Automatic.CSS, and when I'm working with the design, I manipulate these variables. Let me show you something cool, and it has to do with how I integrate Fancy Figma in my workflow, which is a Figma plugin. It was introduced to me by my good friend Dave Foy, and I will show you what it does. So let's go to text variables, and you will see that we have a very similar setup with Automatic.CSS regarding how we manage things, okay, and how we work with scales. So as you see, I can set a base size. So for my typography, base size currently is 16. Then I can define a text scale, and then all these values automatically apply. And I will give you an example right now. Let's set this to 18 and set the scale to 1.2. Okay. Nothing happens, but this is because you need to trigger the plugin in order to perform the calculations. And it's pretty interesting how it performs the calculations, because the plugin allows for variable calculation with native Figma variables. Okay, currently, natively, it's not possible in Figma to multiply something based on or something else, or to perform calculations. Fancy Figma, among other things, allows you to do that, and it actually takes place in the description of the variable. So let me update, and you see that everything has adapted to the new style. Same happens with spacing. I can use a base size, a space scale, and then all my values automatically apply. Needless to say that this happens with palette as well. Okay, so all my colors automatically adapt to my new values. So I have to trigger the plugin. Now I have my variables. I have my style guide, and let me see my components. Actually, let me use something more interesting for the primary color. Okay, let's do at least something like this. In this page, I have some components that are mapped, of course, to Automatic.CSS. And if you trigger dev mode, for example, You see that everything is based on variables named exactly as in Automatic CSS. And I will use this as a starting place in a new project. Keep in mind that everything is essentially mirroring the status of my variables. Okay, what happens if I want to change the font family? I go to typography, styles, and change, let's say, outfit. And everything gets automatically adjusted. Okay, so I will use any of this as a starting point, my collection of components, and this will help me, draft out some ideas. What would be my process in this whole workflow? So first I will start with design exploration. Okay, I will go to my playground, perhaps I will create a mood board, drop inside any assets that the client might have provided, and I will just start to experiment with font families, colors, and slowly I will start adding the specifications in my variable architecture. Okay, so I'll say, okay, this the font family is going to be this one, okay, outfit, for example. So now I have a big collection of material to work with that already resemble my design choices, okay. And then I will extract color palette and spacing scale and so on and so on. Style tuning. Yeah, what I just talked about. So essentially I am extracting the values from my design and I quantize them or tuning them, okay, into Automatic CSS variables. So in the brainstorming phase, I might use like 40 pixels for a spacing value, okay. I will adapt this to the closest spacing size in my spacing scale in Automatic CSS. Okay, so you get the idea. Layout design, I will start creating new layouts for the project pages, and all these will reflect my existing design status. And in the end, when I'm ready, I will convert into Automatic CSS. Now, Fancy Figma, it allows you to do something cool. Which is to copy Automatic CSS settings. It doesn't always work well, but what you can do is you can go to the import-export settings in Automatic CSS in your WordPress site and essentially paste the code that you copied from Figma into there. And it will import most of the color and typographic variables. Currently, it has some issues. Not sure it works well with the latest version of Automatic CSS. But in any case, I prefer to do the process by myself. So it takes like, 30 minutes. I go to my styles and yeah, I use them as a guide. I reference my variable panel and I convert things manually because it also gives me a good overview of the design before stepping into production. So that was it for now. I have plenty of ideas for new videos for the channel. I don't know what your thoughts are. Feel free to share in the comments. We might explore some videos on how to create your own Figma setup from scratch. Okay, so this is definitely something we can do. And no need to use external plugins. I mean, you can do things manually, it's not a big deal. Another thing we can do is a more detailed breakdown of my own setup, so I will show you how things work. Perhaps what we can do is to create a website design with this setup, so a hands-on application of the template. We can create an imaginary project and work with that and see how the process goes from start to finish. Or we can perhaps explore some Figma to EtchWP content, which is going to be focused on how to transfer your Figma design into Etch and Automatic.CSS, and we can definitely build some sections in EtchWP. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will definitely keep releasing videos within this scope. Thank you very much for your time. As I mentioned, it's the first video of the channel, so bear with me. Like and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned, and visit skinnywp.com for more content like this.